We're going to get started in just a couple of minutes. Andy just went out to check the parking lot to make sure we didn't lose anyone. But if you want to get another slice of pizza, we'll start in like 2 minutes, okay? Thank you. I'm live. Can you hear me? Oh, excellent. We're going to get started. First of all, thank you everybody for coming out tonight. I really do appreciate it. I know there are a lot of things going on. In fact, when you walk out, you're probably going to see a bonfire getting started across the street that's part of homecoming. So there's a lot of stuff happening, and the fact that you've chosen to be here tonight, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you to all of you. Before I get into our program, I did want to take a minute to thank Stephanie. Can you come up? Stephanie Doan? Okay. Stephanie. I did want to just take a moment to thank Stephanie and her staff for the great meal that they put on for us. Thank you very much. It was delicious. Thank you. Yeah, just to plug for the Fresh Picks, which is the food service company that we have. They do the meals for all our kids at both schools. And this is just a little bit of a sample of the quality of the food our kids get. And the kids do enjoy it. So I hope you did too. So anyway, thank you very much for being here tonight to help us. Oh, let there be light. Light is good. It was that was symbolic to show that as I started to talk, suddenly the room got brighter, right? Now it got darker. What are you doing? You're messing with me. Okay. All right. So what we've invited you here tonight for is for us to do what is the grand unveiling, if you will, of our almost final draft of our vision of a graduate. For those of you who haven't been following along, vision of a graduate is a concept that comes out of the New England Association of Schools and College accreditation process. And certainly if you look around New England, you'll see lots of high schools that have adopted either a vision of a graduate, a profile of a graduate. There might be different terminologies for it. But really what it's about is to try to focus the efforts of your school system around the vision for what you want to accomplish for your students. So as Newmarket has approached this project, and really this work started long before I came on board. In fact, I would say there's been a good 4 years of work getting us to this point. So it's really important to note that. But as Newmarket has approached it, we really look at it as a school system-wide thing, because one of the things we believe very strongly is that when a student walks across the stage at graduation and gets their diploma and they're excited and they leave, everything that they learned did not happen between the 9th and the 12th grade. It happened in Newmarket, it happens in pre-K, and for many of our kids, they're in our school systems from pre-K through 12. So you're talking 13 or 14 years that some kids are spending in the Newmarket schools. So to me, that is an enormous opportunity as a school system if you can coordinate your efforts and work all kind of pulling in the same direction with similar sets of goals. There's just no limit to what can be accomplished. So really the goal of developing a vision of a graduate is really step one in that process. It's creating an idea that's commonly understood and accepted for what we want the end product of our school to be. So when a student is finishing with us, what are all the things we want them to have had the opportunity to experience, transferable skills we want them to have mastered, and more importantly, for anybody on the outside walking into a school, is to be able to find observable examples of it, whether it's a project that kids did at a particular grade level, or a philosophy that is applied to grading, or an extracurricular activity. But that it's clear that all of those things work together. So the goal of developing this is to get the whole district in line behind how do we get there. And I think one of the things I would emphasize, last year when we began open school, one of the things that Patty and I talked to the staff about was we're not there yet. And I think one of the mindsets that we're hoping to develop here is that there's always room for growth, but if you set a course and you start working in that direction and stay the course, you will eventually get results. And so what you're going to see in our vision of a graduate is aspirational thinking. You may have reactions like, well, wait a minute, I haven't seen that in my kid's experience, and that's going to, believe me, that's going to get addressed. But you've got to start with answering the question, what do we commonly agree is where we want to be? And so that's really where we are tonight. So we have invited a number of wonderful people here to help us with this presentation, and frankly, the people who did the real work. I just get to talk and smile and laugh, but the real work was done by others. So I'm going to turn it over to Andy to let him talk a little about the work that his staff has done. Go ahead, Andy.
Thank you, Todd. And those who don't know me, my name is Andrew Corman. I'm the principal here of Newmarket Junior Senior High. Just to elaborate a bit on what Todd said, the work has been happening here primarily as a result of the NEASC accreditation process. Before I came in, the staff 2 years ago spent a lot of time and a lot of energy doing a really valuable process called self-reflection. As part of that process, you ask your educators in your building to sit down, turn over the stones, look yourself in the mirror and say, what are we striving for and how do we get there? As part of that process, the faculty here identified that we need a unifying mission and vision for our program, and we need a vision of a graduate. As they put that in the report, the accreditation agency came in and said, yes, absolutely, let's get to work and start diving in on that. Over the last year and a half, there's been countless hours spent by many faculty here in the building doing exactly that. Sitting down and going, what do we want our students to be able to know and do when they walk across that stage? And just to reiterate, often it's that high school experience when the kid walks across the stage and that smile and that moment, and it's absolutely amazing, but it does not live and die in this building. It starts in that first time into their pre-K educational experience and continues to progress to that final moment where you as a parent are standing out there and they stand open and they open that diploma. That's our goal. To get there, we've spent, we had a faculty group of probably about 15 that have really dove into this. First, researching out what are other schools doing, what do we value, how do those things align, and then it's been a continuous loop of feedback. We've asked our faculty multiple times for input. We've gone down to the elementary school and asked them, because they have a different lens on learners, and what a third grade experience for an innovative thinker means versus what my AP English teacher thinks are two valuable experiences, but are wildly different. We've asked our students multiple times. We've had a community forum last year. We're having this one tonight. This is not solely an initiative that lives in this building, but it's something district-wide, and we want to really value every stakeholder group, which is why we're asking them once again tonight for feedback. What you see on the walls here is our almost final product. It's that last draft, but it is open to feedback, and we're open to that tonight, and we really encourage you, as part of this process, to please provide that feedback. This process has gone through multiple iterations, and it's been under the guidance of two absolutely amazing faculty members here who I'll introduce in a second. But the takeaway message that I want everyone to hear tonight is we've worked really hard. There's been a lot of input on this, but it is not a final piece. If there's something you value that you think we're missing, please share it with the group tonight, and we'll do our best to incorporate that in. With all that being said, the people literally in the room having those conversations, facilitating the committee work, are here with us tonight. We have Ms. Anne-Marie DeSantis and Mr. Nathan Groth, and they're going to walk you through our final product and how we got here.
Great. So yeah, and you kind of explained the background of how we got here. We had a committee that was started as part of our Wednesday work when we had time last year in the afternoons. It was a dedicated group of teachers. There were some teachers that had been working on this work pre-COVID, in depth as part of their CAGS program and other outside of school education opportunities. So they had really spent a lot of time diving in deep and thinking about it. Stephanie Cleary and who else? Mark Levitt. And so they had spent quite a bit of time already kind of getting the gears in motion and setting us up for success. And so we kind of reviewed what they had done so far at that point. And again, we just worked together as a committee, really delving into it and looking at what other schools were doing and what we saw at our school were our needs.
I don't have too much more to add, but I wanted to give a couple specifics, a couple things that I thought were really notable about the way that we did this. One thing that I'm really proud of in terms of what we did as a school that other schools maybe haven't done is that we did this entire process in-house. And I think we saved the town of Newmarket a significant amount of money. And if you'd like to pass any of that back to us in the form of donations, see me outside in the car, it's no problem. Yeah, anyway, so we already know who to make the checks out to, I think. We're good with that. But it also meant that we had a much more organic process where we were able to gather feedback right from you, the community, the staff, and students, from people that knew what the town was like, from people that knew the students and knew the community. And I think the product is that much better for it. The other thing that I really want to highlight about our process was that, was anyone here during the first committee meeting or the first community event when November? January? Yeah, whenever. It was dark, it was snowy. Was anyone here for that? A lot of your views and a lot of the things that we got as suggestions during that committee meeting, unsurprisingly, aligned really well with the staff and the student feedback already. So we already knew we were on the right track when everything kind of aligned. And to use kind of a sculptural metaphor, a lot of good sculptors look at the process of creating a sculpture less as creating a sculpture, creating something from the stone, but rather revealing it from the stone. And I think we kind of did that as well with this, where we revealed what we want our kids to be rather than created it. And I hope that really comes through in the product as well. So thanks for being here, and we welcome your feedback.
So as Anne-Marie and Nate indicated, this is the product of all that work. And so if you can, and there are copies of it all around the room for you to get up and look at if you would like. But basically, we have honed in on 6 domains, if you will, that highlight what we would like to have students be exposed to and experience. Character is a big one. As you can see, there's a real conversation in the staff around what does that mean. And I would point out, by the way, that these items are not necessarily things that get graded. I think a lot of people immediately go to a place of it's a grade. It doesn't mean that it has to be graded to matter. What we looked at, like, what are the kinds of observable traits we would like to see our students have and be exposed to as they develop character, as they develop innovative thinking, as they develop communication skills, as they aspire to be lifelong learners, as they participate in community events. And really the last one there was one that I think morphed in multiple ways, but this idea of trying to create an environment where kids are learning how to balance the many demands that they face and helping them to better cope with things and really get a sense of what they're good at and what they want out of life. Because I think ultimately one of the things we believe is that we want kids graduating from high school with choices in front of them. We don't expect every child by the age of 18 to be fully formed and know exactly what their life is going to be, but we want them to have these traits and experiences. So where do we go from here? In a moment, I'm going to turn it over to Patty Wands, who's going to walk you through an activity for you to give us some feedback on this. But I want you to understand that our goal is to take feedback tonight, bring it back to the committee one more time, have them revise one last time with the idea of having this in front of the board for their approval for on October 19th. So we want to bring closure to this because we have staff that are chomping at the bit, because we know conceptually this is the kind of stuff we need to do, but we're sort of waiting, and this will give us that one last chance to say, okay, are we in line with the community? And from there, I've used the term with staff, this will become our marching orders from that point forward. We're going to create a school environment that mirrors this. And it does mean, like I said before, we're not there yet. It means we have to grow. It means we have to reflect, and that's what we're going to be doing. So with that, Patty, would you like to walk us through the activity of how we're going to take feedback?
Yeah. So the next slides just walk through each attribute, that's the word I used in the question, and gives a descriptor, and then you'll see that there are indicators under each of those, and that is what's all around the room. So I'll give you a moment to read character. And then the next one is innovative thinker. And again, we have indicators. This is what we're looking for in our students to demonstrate that they're an innovative thinker. And we like to think of these even from pre-K all the way up. It might look a little different in the classroom, but we want all of our students to be innovative thinkers, for example. Here's effective communicator. How do we communicate with each other? Lifelong learner. Community participant. And then lastly, living a balanced life. And again, what we'll probably do, because we're going to work as table partners or table groups, and we can take down, we don't expect people to memorize them, so we can take down from the wall for each table so that you have it in front of you. So I have some questions, and I have this big sticky paper over here with the question at the top of it. Oops. So here's the feedback that we're looking for from you. So as a group, you don't have to do this by yourself. You can do it with your neighbor, with your friends in your group. So first of all, the first response is, does the Newmarket School District's vision of a graduate, does it apply to all of our students pre-K-12? Meaning, is it inclusive? Have we forgotten anybody? So think about that and reflect and let us know. The second question is there an attribute? And then I listed them: character, innovative thinker, effective communicator, lifelong learner, community participant, balanced life. Is there something that's missing? Did we miss one? If you feel that we did, we'd love for you to add what you think that attribute should be. What should be included in our vision? The third question is, do the list of indicators reflect each attribute? So looking at the attribute, look at those indicators. What did we miss? Did we miss a description? And then tell us what we missed. And then last question is, does this vision reflect what we want for our graduates when they walk across the stage in Newmarket? This is posted on the website. You can see right here this, okay, I can't, oh, here it is. This feedback form. This brings you right to a Google form. So for our folks at home that aren't able to come tonight, they can certainly access this on our website, fill out the Google form, and these same 4 questions are there for you to respond to, so we get everyone's feedback. We want to ensure that all of our community has an opportunity to give us feedback on this vision, because it's that important to us. And that will be open until 10 p.m. tomorrow night. So with that being said, I'm going to ask that as we're in groups, we'll go around with the big paper and some real fun colored markers, and I'm sure we have lots of young people to help us. And we're going to get going to get your feedback. So thank you.
Thanks. How would you like to do this? Yeah, if you're not already sitting in a group that you're comfortable working with, please move so you are, so we can bring you the questions. There are other components to the NEAS accreditation process, such as developing a school improvement plan, having a fully developed curriculum. There are other components, but the vision of the graduate is really about creating that common view of where you want to get as a school system so that you can get all of your initiatives headed in the same direction. So that's the rationale for why this is such a critical concept to NEASC accreditation. So NEASC does not say we have to specifically use the terminology we have. That's for us. That's an organic, locally developed concept. But the idea of having a community conversation about what you want out of your schools and what you want the end result for your students to be is very important to a school system developing action plans that will get them there. So that's why that exists. So I hope that helped.
Okay, I'm going to just jump in for a second to give a little direction. So we're just being mindful of the time and your time. So how about if we give you about 5 to 7 more minutes to kind of think about where you are. And we would love if table groups could share out, and then we'll collect them from you. And if you feel like, I really wanted to add this, when you get home or tomorrow, if you want to jump on the feedback form, you could also do that as well. So you really feel like you're sharing everything that you want to share with us. So 5 to 8 more minutes. And we have microphones. That's some great conversation. Thank you so much. We are looking for our community to share. If you want to just share some thoughts, and we'll take the papers afterwards. But we would love to hear if we could have a spokesperson maybe or two from the group, and we have these fun microphones, so that's fun. And any group want to start and just share with us some thoughts? Yay, I love that. Thank you so much. And your name is? What's your name?
My name is Matt.
Matt? Okay, Matt's going to share. Take it away.
Hi. All right, so we had big ideas, and I was like, oh, all right, we got to get all this recorded. The problem was, you all did a really good job. So, thank you. So, like, as we're going through these questions, it's like, oh, it seems like you have applied, or you have something that really is inclusive. Your attributes are, they create an appropriately wide net, and as we kept trying to tease out what maybe was missing, we kept finding it in the descriptions or in those indicators. So one of the things that we were just trying to figure out how we refocus on, and we didn't have a ton of really well-formulated thoughts, is like, how do the arts sort of fit into this? But knowing this isn't really an indication of a curriculum, it didn't necessarily make sense to start like ascribing things, but really putting a point of emphasis on how do we raise kids who can take what they know and apply it in new and creative ways, but that's just in the innovation, you've already captured it. So great job, guys. Not present, we did really want to call out media, financial, technology literacy, and raising humans that can be ethical and moral in a really ambiguous and confusing time. Not sure exactly where that fits in, but we kind of think that's in that community space and that character space. And it's really this other I got that, ethical. Yeah, ethical citizens of the world. Last little bit is like this generosity of spirit that we wanted to focus on, is raising kids who are able and willing to give just freely and enthusiastically, like, of themselves. But yeah, like, this was incredible. Like, everything's really well thought out, and we just kept running into like roadblocks where you had already had the idea that we did, so we had to give up and find something new. So that's it from me. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Matt, and your table over here. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Somebody else? Another group? Awesome. Thank you. And your name is? Bridget. Thank you, Bridget.
It's tough to follow Matt. But in our group, we had students ranging from freshmen in high school to kindergartners. So we had a lovely range, and we did find it very applicable. The two areas that we kind of zoned in on were kind of emphasizing the responsibility to a community. We saw that it was, be active, participate, but also know that you are important to this community and that you have a responsibility to it. And then the other thing that we didn't write down, because we kept, finding it in places, but a conversation that we have with our kindergartners and others are having with their high school students is kind of captured in the accountability part, but acceptance of consequences. So that was something that's a daily conversation for all age groups, that you can be accountable for your actions, but you also need to accept there are going to be consequences to those actions too, and making sure that there are consequences to those actions. So those are the two things that we've been kind of going back and forth on, finding it in pieces, but maybe there is a more clear way to call that out. But that's where we landed.
You did a great job. Thank you. Any other table over here? Thank you. You say your name. Lisa. Okay. Thanks, Lisa.
So I had been thinking that there's something that could be a separate one, but that it very well weaves into the character category, and that is a strong sense of self and being confident in who you are and not compromising what you believe and know or think, and that it's okay to have, there's talks, there's a lot of it does weave throughout them, but I feel like there's so much of accepting or being tolerant of other people, that it's also important to be okay and tolerant of yourself being a minority in what you feel like doing or being or thinking, and that has a lot to do with integrity and being true to yourself, and it can play out in all of the different categories. So that's why I was thinking it could be a separate one than the sixth, but I think it fits well in character, but they all do kind of play out, like support each other. Did we have another one? Oh, it was on the next one. Yeah, never mind. The next one is the next question. We didn't get papers for the other one, so we didn't write it down. I don't remember it. I don't know. Do you?
Oh gosh, I don't remember what it was. What was it? It was just about the strong sense. Well, no, not.
Oh, being okay with failure. Like I know. Okay, so yes, it does show up, but who wants to articulate it?
Well, I can't go ahead. I'm not sure I remember, but just being okay with failure and being like able to start over, because so many times, like even right now, like we're putting an idea out there that might not be the right idea, but it might make Matt or somebody else think of an idea that builds off of that idea. So not to be afraid to suggest something, even if you might not think it's exactly the right suggestion, because it still creates a thinking circle.
So that would have been under the innovative thinker section, that you can completely scrap a direction you're going in or a project that you've made or something, and you might come out stronger for it.
Yeah. And that is, yeah, that is, talking about failure is in here, but I just a little bit of a
Like
yeah.
embracing failure. Embracing failure. Not
Yeah. Yeah.
Karen, thank you, Lisa and Karen. So we want to come over here next? Measured risks. We don't want risky living. I hear what you're saying. Exactly, yes. I hear what you're saying. Is there over here? Well, we still have more groups. I was going to, you guys. Lonnie.
We also, I think, were a little bit pressured by the giant sticky notes, like that we had to fill them up, that you were looking for us to find a lot of critiques. So we wrote rather large. We talked a little bit about kind of the responsibility to a community, to our community, like giving back to the community post-graduation. Grassroots, we were talking about when this is revisited in a few years from now, hopefully the soon-to-be graduates, or in the spring, would be invited to give their feedback about the final product, and in that way, giving back to the community that helped them to get where they are. And then we said, under the character attribute, possibly add the words ask for with give and receive help. I teach elementary school, so we spend a lot of time telling kids that they don't really need help with some things because they ask for it all the time. And by high school, did they stop asking for help, or do they know how to ask for help because they've been told they don't need it? So I feel like it is a skill. And then we spent most of our time conversing about language, the headings, which I was hesitant to even, write down because it seems nitpicky, but just making them all match parts of speech, and how you could kind of wordsmith that so that they all were either qualities or all could be used to describe a graduate human. But that was really it. We didn't find anything else missing. Yeah, or thinks innovatively, yeah. We didn't have a great solution for that language problem, so, or not problem, but.
And anybody else over here now? Yes. And what's your name again? Nicole.
Thank you. So we also spent a lot of time talking about, I think, almost what everybody else we were talking about financial, how do kids balance checkbooks, or how do they do laundry, all of those life skills. So we talked to the teachers about that, and we also talked about a number of things that you guys talked about as well. But a couple of things that haven't come up yet is under character, it says shows care and respect for others, but it doesn't say to show respect for oneself. So we were thinking, we weren't sure where that might fit in, but maybe just adding oneself to that, because that's really, really important for us to, respect oneself, and that's how we learn how to respect others. The other one that we were looking for was effort. Like, how do you, where does it fit in that you try or give your best effort all the time? Sometimes that's under respect, like you respect your teachers, you respect yourself, you respect your homework, but maybe there's another spot that it fits better under one of these headings. And one that we just thought about now, as actually you guys were talking, was being a self-advocate for yourself. So where does that fit in under here? And maybe they're just ideas to throw out there. Anything else that you guys were thinking of that I missed? Okay. Thank you.
Did I miss anybody that wants to share, or maybe has a new thought as a result of? And that's okay. With the asking for help, that's what I thought. Yeah, advocate for self. Yeah. Yes, Amy. Mm-hmm. This is our vision, right? Yes. So my sense, do you want to take it from with the board to? Yeah, sure.
I mean, clearly, this is a vision that's been a work in progress for a while that students have definitely had their hands on and had a say in. But as soon as it's adopted, I think a marketing strategy immediately shifts. In fact, I'm looking at Annette here thinking, art is needed here. We need some graphic design to really spice this up, because if we're going to have messages about this all over our schools throughout our community, it needs to look and feel like that, and that reminds people of the environment we're trying to create. So I do think there's a certain amount of marketing strategy that goes on to it, but I also think what needs to happen is every activity we do across the district has to be confronted with, okay, here's the vision of a graduate we have as a system. How does your area impact it? If you're a first grade teacher, how do you contribute to this? If you're a middle school cross-country coach, how do you contribute to this? If you're a chemistry teacher, how do you contribute to it? All of those things. And I think it's an organic process once you get there. And then I think there's no question that what we have to do is embed, we have to embed, there you go, future graduate. What class? Class of 2035. Wow, it's exciting. Welcome.
I know. I'm trying to.
Very cool. Very cool. But yeah, so we have to create an awful lot around it. This is the starting point. And as I said earlier, we're not there yet. So in fact, Andy has some great activities planned here at the junior senior high on Friday to kind of get this conversation started.
Tomorrow.
Oh, it's tomorrow.
Tomorrow?
Oh, wow, it's tomorrow. Wow. I was thinking it was earlier in the week. But to begin the yeah, 12 hours from now. Actually, to begin the conversation of what are we already doing that aligns with this? Because that's the other thing. You don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. There's lots of wonderful things that are happening. It's like, it's alignment that needs to take place. It's not that everything we do is wrong. It's like, if you're doing something in second grade that can feed an experience in third grade, you need to consciously think about it and make sure that it happens that way. And I think that's really what we're trying to get to. So that's a convoluted, long answer to your question, Amy. But yeah, marketing is going to be the
In every classroom and hallways and stairwells. And,
Yep.
Yeah.
Any other comments? I did want to just say, we've been talking.
Wait, Lisa, did you have one more comment? Yes. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that is
I like
very, very
Right.
definitely a
Yes.
major challenge of this, certainly this generation of students and this generation of our country is how to develop a strong sense of who you are and know who you are. In fact, I think that's part of what we want all of our graduates to hopefully arrive at a place where they know who they are and what they're good at and what they want out of life. But one of the things I do want to just comment on is this conversation has been going on in this district for a year and a half that I've been a part of. It has been going on for many years before that. I've had the experience of going through this NEAS stuff with other school districts and seeing the conversations that take place, and it never ceases to amaze me how differently each group can sort of see things, and there's always a new idea, there's always a new concept that can come out and refine it, because in the end, there's no perfect right vision of a graduate. It's really about collectively working together to get to the same place, and it's kind of developing that sense of where are we trying to get. And once you collectively agree to that, then all the other pieces eventually fall into place. And over time, our understanding of it as a community gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And I think, when I look at the class of 2035, you got to figure we're going to have this thing down by that point. We really have refined it to a great extent. Last thing I want to say about feedback, remember, if you didn't get a chance to say something or something occurs to you in the next 24 hours, remember, you just go to our website. It's on the masthead of the website. You can click there, the Vision of a Graduate link in the PowerPoint. You just go in there, and you can give us feedback. So if ideas, how many? Oh, it's 27. Okay. Thank you, Gary. In the next 27 hours. Feel free to do that. We are keeping it a short window because we really have work to do, and we really want to get this in front of the board so that they can, hopefully adopt it in the month of October. So we're really pushing our timeline. So yeah, please, if you have something to say, let us know in the next 27 hours. Now, before go ahead. Sure.
I really want to give credit to the
really are.
teachers. It was Nate and Anne-Marie and the vision of the graduate committee. The teachers have really spent endless hours over the summer. They met several times to draft this. I just want to give credit to the teachers on the vision of the graduate committee. I mean, there are about 10 teachers on that. 12. Annette, I believe Annette Blake is here. Annette is on the committee. They have poured their heart and soul into this document to make it right. So thank you for saying that. Yeah.
So before we go, Dan, I understand you'd like to say a couple of words?
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks again, everybody, for coming tonight. For those who don't know me, Dan Smith, I'm on the school board, and as everybody was gathering in their groups, I went back to our leader, Gary, and I said, one thing that I think is missing is maybe the board should just say what we're hoping to get out of the process. And Gary said, that's a great idea. Why don't you write something up? And because that's right there. Exactly. That's how we do things. So you're getting about 5 minutes worth of thought here. Please don't judge it too harshly. I'm pretty sure I can speak on behalf of the entire board when I say that we are very, very excited to see this process coming to an end and the fruition of everyone's efforts coming together. It's something that the community has been working on for a long time, and it's difficult as a member of any board in this town to get a good understanding of what the community wants. And in some ways it's even harder because education is a pretty individual experience for everyone involved. And that's been our sincere hope from the beginning. What we want to get out of this is the best possible picture that we can get of what Newmarket wants for its young people. You know, like Todd said, what do we want to see when they walk across that stage, or maybe a different stage, but you know, after being in this school district. So once we adopt this vision of a graduate, which we're hopefully going to be doing at an upcoming meeting, you know, we want this to be the guiding document for ourselves and for future boards. And that helps us in a number of ways, which I managed to scribble down 4 of, I guess. I mean, first of all, it becomes a lens that we evaluate policy through. If you've ever looked at the school district's website, you'll see 2 lengthy documents that contain all of the policies of the district. Some of which are just prescribed by state law, but a lot of which really are things that are unique to Newmarket. And you know, part of what we want to do with Vision of a Graduate is look at all of those policies through that lens and make sure that they're all really aligned to what the community wants to create for the students. Second, and near and dear to everybody's heart, this really helps us set the priorities for the budget. You know, we don't have unlimited money, unfortunately, to fund the school district, and that means that sometimes we have to make choices. So with a solid vision of a graduate, hopefully it's going to make it easier to make those choices and to figure out what takes priority when we have to make tough decisions. The third thing, which, you know, thanks to Phil, because I literally came up with this listening to him talk, you know, every student gets 13 years in this school district, and one of the tougher things that we've observed, you see it in standardized test scores, you see it in a lot of other results, is creating a continuity of experience as they go through those 13 years, and when they make the big jumps, like from the elementary school to the middle school, from the middle school to the high school, you know, how do we create an experience that builds on itself year after year and has that continuity that's really going to, you know, have them get the most out of that 13 years and really thrive. And the last one I literally just came up with while Todd was talking a second ago, but it's a very good point. There's no right and wrong answer to this. A lot of the value in this process is just getting the community to come together, to think about it, to talk about it. You know, a community that works together to build an educational experience is a community that values education. And from my short time on the board, my real conclusion is this community values education a great deal. So on behalf of the school board, we are deeply appreciative of all the time that everyone has put into this, the staff, the administration, the community members, the parents, everyone who's contributed their time to this effort. You know, it's been countless hours of hard work, but we believe very firmly that all that work is going to pay tremendous dividends for this community for years to come. So thank you very much.
And with that, I would also just comment that one of the things that has been great about this process is the board has embraced this as a goal once adopted to make it a reality. And a lot of times in school districts where you adopt a vision of a graduate and there's a disconnect between the vision of a graduate and board politics, you don't get where you want to be. And I think it's very telling that you have a school board who has established that as one of their 3 goals for this year, is to get this in place and then start using it to figure out the future of the district. So well done. So thank you. Thank you all for being here. I really appreciate it. Again, we have 26 hours and 50 minutes to do feedback if you still would like to. But thank you for being here, and have a great evening. And there's a bonfire across the street if you want to stop by on your way out.